topic, and she's not even that well versed on it. And should
Okay,
be.
good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Ellis County Commission meeting. All those capable, please rise for our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will the clerk please call roll?
Commissioner Neil Younger,
Present.
Chair Nathan Liker,
Here.
Commissioner Michael Burgess.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Okay, has everybody had a chance to look through the prior minutes?
Yes.
Okay. No changes were needed there, so consent agenda.
I'll make a move to approve the consent agenda, items A through G.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Consent agenda is approved. Okay. This time, we have a special honor, so.
Good morning, Danita Schrader, Director of Ellis County EMS. Today, we're going to give cardiac save awards to two of our technicians. On August 27th of this year, we were called to a local hotel at about 1:30 in the morning for a 71-year-old male not breathing. The patient's wife and the hotel night clerk attempted to move the patient to the floor, but were unable to. So the night clerk started CPR on the patient. Ellis County EMS and Hayes PD arrived, got the patient to the floor, started CPR, defibrillated the patient once, and we got a pulse back on him. They began their treatment for this patient, transport him to the hospital, lost his pulse a couple times en route to the hospital, but we got it back right before. They were able to get him to the cath lab where he was treated at Hayes Med, and he left 4 days later. I spoke with the patient and his wife, and they're very grateful for what we did. He is doing well and improving. They stated they appreciated our timeliness and our professionalism, and his wife stated it was a godsend that they stopped in Hayes, Kansas that night. So I have Cody Niblock and Jeremiah Brown, and I've made some awards if you'd like to present them to them, please.
Well, thank you both, gentlemen.
Thank you.
You can stand over here, maybe. You can go back there and just stand there.
So we're all on camera.
Camera, right?
Right. So, here you go, gentlemen. Thank you, sir. Yeah.
Thank you. No, thank you, sir. Pretty smiles on what I have.
We got a picture of all this. Thank you.
What's up?
Thank you, gentlemen, and I would like to say also that, you know how many lives you affected when you saved that man's life? Means a lot.
Thank you. Okay. Well, at this time, anybody from the public that's not on the regular order of business, you get to follow that. Okay, seeing none, we'll move on. Monthly departmental reports. Any comments or concerns?
Just a lot of things going on.
Yeah,
A lot.
no concerns. Good work by the county departments and employees putting things into motion.
Yes. I'd like to appreciate the sheriff who's here. His inmate count is slightly down right now. It's a maintainable level, hopefully. But after talking with him, we do have some things that are kind of recurring with our with our inmate population. We've got 4 of them out of town seeking treatment, sounds like. So I know upcoming we'll have an update, but we do have a mental health crisis statewide. So, and it's apparent here as well. Okay. Next, we have the courthouse elevator.
Good morning, Greg Herbert with Buildings and Grounds.
Morning.
So I'm bringing a proposal to upgrade the elevator at the courthouse. This is the elevator that the public uses inside the courthouse, not we have another one that is behind locked doors. This elevator was put in about 95 because of ADA requirements. So it's close to 30 years old, and 2 or 3 years ago, the service tech came to me and said that they no longer can source parts for this elevator as far as the control part of it. The mechanical parts they can get, it's the cards that are in the control that basically run the elevator. So it's running fine right now, but it's kind of how long do you want to wait? Do you want to wait till it breaks down? Do you want to be proactive and fix it now? They can fix this elevator with used parts because they've been replacing some throughout the state, and they cannibalize the parts, but you're basically be putting used parts in the elevator and just kind of kicking the can down the road, basically. So that's why I got the bid to basically put new controls in this elevator.
Okay. So this is not a complete replacement. This is just fixing controls.
Just basically the brains of the elevator,
Okay.
basically.
Any questions, gentlemen?
Just comment, it needs to be fixed, we've got it. And there's that state fire marshal thing right there that we have to abide by, so.
Yeah, that was a whole nother process. But
Well, I'm sure that.
thanks, Darren, we got through it.
Gotcha. Greg, you had mentioned that we have a second elevator in that area. Is it similar age?
This was put in during the remodel project, 10 years ago.
Okay.
So, but they tell me that it is only good for another, 10 years, and then it shuts itself down because that's just how they program it. And at that point, we're going to have to do something with that elevator.
Okay.
I mean, it's not good. I didn't know anything about it, but that's what they tell me. That's how they work it now.
AI.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. But it's all computerized stuff now, and it gets to a certain point. So many cycles. I think they said 1 million cycles, but we're only at 68,000 cycles right now. Or was it 15 years, I think it was.
Okay.
Maybe 20, I don't remember which one it is, but it will come to a point where we're gonna have to do something with that elevator too.
Okay.
I've kind of got that in capital to kind of plan for that.
Good
So-
deal.
Just hope nobody's in there when it decides to stop in the middle.
It's not the most reliable elevator, and
Okay.
it's,
Ah.
but
Okay. Any comments, Michael?
No, Darren, you explained, because it's coming out of the sales tax that we've had off to the side for courthouse improvements anyway. So from my standpoint, I think this makes sense. We're using funds that were kind of designated for the renovation of this building and the courthouses anyway. So if you would explain that a little bit.
Yeah, that's correct. When the sales tax, I don't remember what the exact year it was first implemented, about 2010. There's a sales tax that the voters approved to remodel the courthouse, the law enforcement center, jail, and build the EMS fire facility on 22nd Street. When that sales tax expired, because enough funds were collected, it was turned off on the quarter. You can only turn off sales tax after you meet whatever the terms were for the sales tax. So we've kept the funds kept those sales tax dollars that were for that purpose in Fund 129. Greg's known about, as he stated, this for several years, and we knew that the roof was eventually going to get needed to be repaired. That was going to be allocated for that. However, the hail damage replaced that, so that saved that fund. And we just replaced this, part of the HVAC units at the EMS facilities. So those funds haven't been used since about 2015 when we moved in to those facilities, 2015, 2016. And we just kept those funds in there just for future upkeep needs or different things within those buildings that would potentially come up. So we saved those funds, and today's a good example of keeping those funds in check and in those accounts, so that way we can use it for a project that has been needed for quite some time.
Okay. Greg, will this upgrade on the controls of the elevator, is that going to increase its efficiency, or is it pretty reliable as is?
It is a good, it works fine.
Okay.
You're just waiting for it to break down, basically, and then if it does break down, we are down for a while, because the whole process of getting new parts and getting on schedule and all that stuff would take quite some time. I mean, they have that other elevator, but like I say, it is behind locked doors, so the public wouldn't really have access to it. So this is kind of a proactive thing, so before it breaks down, that we can get it fixed.
Okay.
So when we approve this, what is his schedule like to get it done? I mean, as far as
Well,
parts and,
On his thing, his bid he sent back, he says February, but the guy I talked to that came here thought middle of summer, so I guess that's up in the air, and then we also need to work around the court schedule
sure.
for, because it'd be down for probably 3 weeks, I'm guessing. So we need to work around their schedule and get that all figured out. That would be,
Okay.
Okay, I move to approve PO 7846 to complete the work on the courthouse elevator.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
thank you.
Thanks, Greg. Okay, next we have Brendan with the purchase of 2 new dump trucks.
Morning, Commissioners. Brendan
Morning.
McKay,
Morning.
Ellis County Public Works Director. So before you is our request to purchase 2 new dump trucks. Commission's aware we have an aging fleet of trucks. We've repurposed some of the trucks into a water truck when one went down, and another one is just, it's 20 years old. It's lived a hard life. With that said, we've also replaced those trucks already. They've been taken out of service, so there's nothing being traded in as of yet right now, because we've already sold off the one truck, and the other truck is currently on an auction site. And then the 2004 will be sold at a later date when the new ones arrive. With that, we received 4 bids back from different vendors within the state and 1 from California. With that, we recommend we go with the lowest bid option from Truck Center Companies for a Freightliner 108 SD Plus. They currently hold the state contract until 2029 to furnish all of KDOT's trucks and equip the chassis and setup. So they're very familiar with the truck. They do hundreds of them a year, and they're the best price available out there for us.
Okay. As far as serviceability, will that be done service here in town?
Some can be done here in town, some will be at the Salina shop or the Wichita shop.
Okay.
Truck Center Companies, I think Salina is their closest branch, where we bought the previous Freightliner, the tractor trailer or tractor truck from.
And we're going with a higher quality of bed this time?
Yes, we're gonna go with a Henderson bed, because the hope would be after 7 to 10 years, when the truck has lived its life cycle with the county, we can move that bed to a new chassis and save on upfitting costs in the future. The bed that was pulled off the 2011 was not a well-constructed bed. It had received damage before. It had just been damaged from normal use before, so it was going to be replaced before we put a water truck bed on there. We ended up putting a water truck bed on that truck instead of a new truck bed. So
Okay,
that one's currently on the Purple Wave auction, closing in 7 days.
okay. And I'm assuming the bed on the 2004 is a wore out as well?
20-some years old, so yeah, it's the 20 years you should look at replacing a bed for the daily use that we do. For occasional use, it'd probably be a great bed for someone, but for the punishment our equipment has to take to maintain the roads, 20 years is about the life expectancy, even with a reskin.
Okay. The last time we did dump trucks, I wasn't up here, but I do remember the conversation, and you had spec'd out some heavier trucks to try and use as, to convert to tractors. Is this purchase strictly for?
These ones would
These are going to
strictly
be
be
used as
dump
dump
trucks.
trucks, and then they're going to be cycled out.
Correct. That's our intent with these ones. The previous ones were a next step up from this, where they had a little bit heavier chassis, that after 7 to 10 years, they'll be turned into water trucks, is what our intent would be with those ones. And then these ones would just be dump trucks for 7 to 10 years and then recycled out.
Okay. Very good. We had 306, I believe, 360 slated for replacement. This
Correct.
came in,
So it's about
Over.
10% higher,
yeah,
because went with a more robust bed on it, and then just the pricing changes from,
right.
pricing's only gone up, unfortunately. And if we had traded the trucks in that we've already sold on Purple Wave, the difference would have been smaller.
Okay.
But that money doesn't come back into my capital fund.
Got it.
Well, let's hope that these will last as long as that other one. I doubt it, but price is up,
Just
quality's
takes lots of
down.
repairs. That's where the 7 to 10 years, kind of the sweet spot. We'll still get value out of the truck when we go to sell it.
Right?
We're not going to get the value for trading in a 20-year-old truck that potentially has issues going in on it. We'll get better value for the community by selling that on Purple Wave. It would help operate, or my capital budget, if I traded it in, but I get more value from it by selling it outright after the fact. Just like the graders keeping those on a cycle, we'd like to keep the trucks on a cycle, and it's more money up front, but once we're in the system, and we have quite a few of the trucks that are from 19, we have 4 trucks that are from their 2020 models or 2021 models, and then 2 that we ordered in 2021 that we received last year in 2023. So we'll have 6 trucks, 6 dump trucks that are within 4 or 5 years old, which they see a lot of miles every year, those trucks, a lot of hours.
Brennan, what's the lead time on these?
These should be done, if they're approved today, they should receive the chassis in January, and they hope to be done with upfitting January to February. They hope to be done with upfitting in April. So about a 2-month lead time for upfitting, which cutting the frame, adding all the hydraulic system, it takes quite a bit. And then we're going to have them, it's not on this, but speaking with the vendor, for very minimal cost, it's honestly about $20 more than we can buy the lights for ourselves. They'll mount and install the strobes for us and wire them directly into the harness, not bypass with a fuse block direct to battery, which we don't, is not recommended with as much complicated electronics around the trucks nowadays. So for about $25 more than we can buy the strobe light for, they will mount it and wire it for us,
Okay.
which is, it'd take us more than $25 worth of time and labor to install that and materials.
These trucks, are these going to be used for snow removal also? Because I know last year we had some issues with the heater and that kind of stuff. I
Correct.
mean, are they upgraded to
Yes.
this?
Yes, and so that's another option that's not on this list that we talked with them about. So the Freightliner, on their trucks, their air intake doors on the driver's side, with the Peterbilts that were bought in 2020, 2021, the air intake door is on the passenger side. That's where we made that shield for it, because there's no dealer-specific one. And as well as that, there was an add-on option that we could pay for that has little air rams in there that closes that air door on the driver's side and opens one up under the hood, so the air is pulled from under the cab. So you're not, if it's wet and heavy, you can leave your air door open on the side. If it's light and fluffy, you shut your air door, intake door on the side, and it opens a door inside the engine bay to pull air from inside the engine area. So you don't have the risk of the filter icing up or freezing over.
I'm just,
I believe what Commissioner Younger is referring to is our windshield
Yes.
fogging over.
that's.
Yes,
what I was
so that
getting
was, and part of that was because the air intake door that supplied air to the engine also ran the HVAC system. So that air intake would freeze up with slush or snow. Being on the passenger side, that's where we're pushing the snow to, that comes around the side of the plow or comes over the top of the plow in real heavy snows. It would build up on that air door on the Peterbilts. Freightliners is on the driver's side where we're not pushing snow to, and there's an option, a factory option, to have it pull air from underneath the hood.
Okay.
But basically, the Western Stars, we did have a little bit of issue with icing. Theirs are mounted higher, but in a light, fluffy snow, if it's still snowing when we're actively pushing, it can start to build up on that. But
that.
we don't have a 3D
was
printer
gonna
big
be
enough to
my-
make we don't have a 3D printer big enough to make a duct for those.
That was going to be my next thing with the windshield, because it's just for the safety, because.
Yes, and there's heated windshields and heated lights on
Okay.
it to keep the lenses clear. On the snowplow lights, the lights on the cab are halogens, so they generate heat to run.
Okay.
That's the one downfall of LEDs, is they don't have the heat to de-ice themselves,
Yep.
so you have to have heater lines in there.
Okay. Any concerns, Michael?
I don't.
Okay.
Okay, I move to approve PO 7845 to Truck Center Companies for the purchase of 2 new 2026 Freightliner dump trucks.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next, we have Brennan with road reclassification or classifications.
Yep. So every 10 years with the census, because of our population in the city of Hayes, we are asked by Federal Highway and KDOT to review our classification of our road system. So our road system is made up of our federal aid secondary routes, our major collectors and minor collectors, and then everything else is called a local road. With that, the feds and the state would like to see at least a third of the roads be on the major collector route and minor collector route. We're above that portion right now, and those routes, they're not just our highest traffic roads. They're the roads that connect communities to communities and bring goods to market. So we have some FAS routes, federal aid secondary, that don't see as much traffic, but it's the only way to get from a settlement to another settlement. With that said, with the review, the state and the feds came out and recommended that we do no changes to this. As part of this, my staff has been taking traffic studies of various other routes neighboring these FAS routes to see if we should shift it on any of these, and we found there isn't a benefit to shifting those classifications of roadways, because all of the FAS routes have, back in the 60s and 70s and early 80s, additional right-of-way was purchased for them. So they're equipped to handle traffic or the ability to be upgraded to handle influx of traffic. The neighboring roads sometimes still only have the 40 feet of existing right-of-way, so we would need to increase the right-of-way to be able to increase the level of service on that. With that said, it's recommended that we make no changes to our FAS classifications as it is.
If we decide to upgrade a few roads later on, will that change any of the classification, or we can upgrade without
We can
changing
upgrade without
classification?
changing classification anytime we'd like.
Okay,
And we can add roads to this and potentially take them away at any time too. It's just every 10 years they want to review. And
Okay.
a lot of this is done, they want to review the city streets. And as part of that, we have to make sure our roads that connect to the cities, I believe it's above 20,000 population or more, they review them with the census. So they want to make sure that our FAS routes connect to the city's FAS routes. and they update the city's urban area boundary for what their roads are and what the boundaries of the cities are. Because theirs was due here in September, ours is due by the end of the year.
Okay.
But since there's no changes recommended, and we've done the time to take time studies and traffic studies of the neighboring roads that we felt may need a change of classification, I felt this time was appropriate to bring it forward to the commissioners. So with the major collectors on the FAS system, if there's a disaster on that, we're eligible to receive FEMA funding to do cleanup, but all the repairs are on the county unless federal highway gets involved and allocates funding. For minor collectors and local roads, if there's damage to a declared disaster, whether that's snow, fire, sometimes wind, rain, tornado, those are eligible to receive partial funding from FEMA. So it's a benefit, it's a double-edged sword. There's some grants that are available specifically on only FAS routes and major collectors in particular, but there's some grants that are only available to the local roads, not on FAS routes. So you have to pick and choose where you want those routes to be and what's in the best benefit of the county with the grants available and funding sources for everything.
So is it a good thing to put more roads on the FAS deal or not?
At this point in time, I would say where you should keep it as is.
Okay.
Like there's the off-system bridge grant, which is eligible for only bridges not on the FAS system. There's the Kansas Local Bridge Improvement Grant, which is for bridges on the off-system bridges on off-system or FAS routes. So that one can go for both bridges. For the high-risk rural road grant, that only goes for routes on the FAS system for safety improvements like widening of roadways potentially, or what the county's done the last 4 years, is update to pavement markings and signings.
Okay. My point is I'm trying to get out on the Vineyard and 41st and
That
Commerce
already is an
Parkway.
FAS route.
Okay. Good.
So there'd be no change classification of that road because it's already a federal aid secondary route.
Can you push that one a little bit, or?
Yeah, it's already there, so there's no,
I
I
know.
don't think the state would be willing to take it over.
I know.
You might be able to talk the city into taking it over, but I don't think they will either. But that's why there's 66 feet of right-of-way from 260th to the half section going to the east.
Mm-hmm.
And then for some reason, there was only 53 feet of right-of-way there, that last half section to Commerce Parkway or 270th.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's 60 and 66 feet either side of Vineyard on Commerce Parkway or 270th, because those were all improved back in the day, and this happened usually between the 60s and 70s. Fortunately, I was able to find record of it. A lot of the time, these roads that were improved during that time, the records are non-existent. No one can find them, because they usually went to like the state highway commissioners, and it just never made its way back to the counties, or it did and got misplaced somewhere. But fortunately, I was able to find those records for that road.
So Brandon, through this 10-year classification on the FAS routes, is there stuff that you have to do as far as like putting traffic count, that kind of stuff? Is there anything that's required by you?
Not necessarily, no.
Okay.
We do that just to make sure that it's accurate. And like I said, there are some routes that have 30 vehicles a day that are an FAS route, but it's truly the only route to get to another community,
Right.
or it connects to a neighboring county's FAS system. Because you can't just have an FAS route terminate with not an end location. So they connect to our neighbors. And that's why they do the urban area boundary. As part of that, they want us to make sure that if the city's making changes to their FAS routes, it connects to our FAS routes.
Okay, all right, thank
So
you.
that way it's the same expected level of priority, I guess. It would be like Highway 183. They want to make sure Highway 183, if equivalent to Highway 183, doesn't go from 12-inch asphalt or concrete pavement to a minimum maintenance dirt road.
Okay.
They want to make sure that those routes connect to one another and interact well.
Okay. Any comments or discussion, Michael?
No.
Okay, I have none extra, so thank you for explaining that, Brendan.
Okay, I move to approve and sign the county functional classification approved resolution 2024-15.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
carries. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay, next we have healthcare for our jail, advanced correctional healthcare.
Morning, Commissioner.
Good morning.
Scott Brown, Ellis County Sheriff. Sorry, I thought it was like there was one ahead of me, so I was kind of daydreaming. Before you, I hope you've had the opportunity to review the ACH contract. We had, prior to sending it to you, I had Mr. Jeter look it over as well as K-Camp, and we added some language to it to give us a little more protection against lawsuits or liability. So that's been reviewed, and Mr. Jeter agreed that that was good verbiage, so we adopted that. Correct, Mr. Jeter?
That's correct.
Okay. And so it's pretty straightforward. We hadn't renewed our contract for a number of years, and we ran into something, if you recall, we had some discussions in regards to that. And so we just want to update this to make sure that we're covered. And so pretty straightforward contract. Financial impact, which is budgeted, which shows in our 2025 budget, would be $175,561 for the year of 2025. And I'm pretty comfortable with it, so I would ask that you would consider approving this contract so we can get it signed by them and get it put in place for 2025.
Okay, and this covers all of our holidays and everything.
Yes, yes, it does.
Will this price go up or down? This price is somewhat dependent on the number of inmates, the level of inmates.
It won't exceed this amount for this coming year unless something major happens, so.
Okay.
But yeah, we should be pretty close to that, so, all right.
Okay,
I got nothing.
any discussion?
I'll move to approve the Ellis County and ACH's 2025 inmate medical care contract.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Scott.
Commissioners.
Yep. Next, we have Operation Greenlight. Darren?
Morning, Commissioners. Darren Myers, County Administrator. Last couple of years, NACO has been promoting a nationwide effort to recognize our veterans for the United States, and doing that around the week around Veterans Day, they ask county governments, local governments, et cetera, who would be interested to change their lighting on their facilities and change them out to a green light. And Ellis County's been doing that for the last 2 or 3 years. And to do that, we can do it anyways, but they asked that we approve a resolution just to recognize those veterans, their service to our country. And then I can submit some stuff on the NACO website, which is National Association of Counties. Essentially just let them know that we're participating in it. There's really no cost to the county. That first year we bought some light bulbs for a couple buildings, which was a couple $100, and we use them for that week, and then buildings and ground staff take them back out and replace the lights back. So the two buildings that are easy enough to change those lights are the courthouse and the EMS fire facility on 22nd Street. So with that, we're just asking if the commission would still consider passing resolution 24-16 in support of Operation Greenlight, and we will proceed with lighting up the buildings green that first week in November.
Okay. Discussion?
I have no problem. Veterans all got us where we're at. And I appreciate Greg and our staff doing the bulb changing, so I definitely can support that.
I support that, that's fine.
Okay. I move to approve Resolution 2024-16, showing support and appreciation of our national and nation's veterans.
Second.
I'll get it.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Greg, for doing that
Yeah.
for us. Okay, next, the Grove Community Center funding request. This is a follow-up from our discussion in May, I believe.
Yes, sir. Back in May, the commission approved funding for the, which I believe is not called the Grove Community Center, it's the Bob and Pat Schmidt Community Center, so I do apologize for that. I just now recognize that, but the commission did approve the funding of $241,605 to Grow Hayes in the efforts to build that community center. That was their shortfall at that point. And at that May meeting, I just made the suggestion that we wait to provide those funds until later in the year to ensure that we didn't have a lot of unexpected expenses or disasters. That quarter, that $241,000 is a lot of budget authority. So at this point, last week I did do some evaluation of our budget for our revenues and expenditures, and both sides seem like we are in good shape for the rest of the year. We should exceed our revenues that we anticipated and budgeted for '24, and we should be well under budget as we continue here through the end of '24. But the $241,000 should not impact our budget authority for any operationals, expenses that we had or anything that we had planned to do for the rest of the year. So with that, I asked Doug Williams to send a letter in from Grow Hayes, so that way we have essentially an invoice and their official request for the money. And if the commission would approve that, we'll submit a voucher payment and get that processed here at the end of October so they can get their funding within the next couple of weeks.
Okay. Any discussion?
Thanks for all the Grow Hayes guys out there to come here and show support, so appreciate that.
Yep, nope, that's what we said we would work towards and get to this point, so I'm good with it.
Okay.
So
Then,
I'll move to fund the Grove Community Center project at $241,605 for the 2024 budget pending continued positive budget trends.
I'll second that.
we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
I apologize, I did not change the budget there for you. I didn't even, or the motion language for it.
Didn't
but,
know.
Yeah.
We will get we won't wait for any more positive budget trends, but we will get it paid.
And it would be for the Bob and Pat Schmidt Community Project, Center Project.
Yeah, I just took the old agenda from back in May and just saved
Right.
it and put it into a new folder and didn't update it all.
Okay. Moving on to the county administrator report. Darren?
One quick thing, while Greg is still here, as the commission knows, back earlier in this year, we replaced the skylights in this building that were very old and aging and hard to replace and had a lot of water leaks. After they were replaced, we had another hailstorm and the skylights were damaged again. We did turn it into insurance as part of this bigger claim, and we should be getting that funding here anytime soon. Is about I think it's just under $600,000 between all the vehicles and the buildings. So part of that is, I think the largest part of it was the skylights. So with that, I had it on the agenda, but then I was waiting for some confirmation on the work that they would be doing. I did put that on your desk this morning, the bid. But the same company that put it in, because they're essentially brand new, about probably not even 9 months old. All the framing is there, the supports, it makes the most sense to replace like with like at this point to get them repaired. Greg and I have had that discussion. I know we had that discussion back well, last year, when we approved them to be replaced, should we even put skylights up there at all? Will they continue to get damaged? So you have that thought in the back of your mind, is do we continue to replace the skylights? Do we completely close them all off, and darken up the building? We can redo some lighting in there to make it more, you won't have the natural light anymore. But at this point, it was approved by insurance, at least to get them replaced, get them at this point, and then into the future, I think we either look at completely eliminating them or a different type of skylight, or we can just cancel it and take the insurance proceeds that we have and continue something different. But like I said, I had it on the agenda for today, and then I sent them off some questions just to ensure that their bid was to replace everything that they were going to, because it was about half the price. But we had a lot more work before when they replaced the skylights. They had to tear off all the old ones, reframe, do some sheetrocking, some roof work. So I wanted to get clarification of their scope of work.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, something we'll have to think on a little harder.
Yeah.
Before we just go forward. Which I understand going forward. I mean, it makes sense. It's been approved. It makes sense, I guess, but maybe have to think a little before we do it.
Yeah, I can postpone it till the November 5th, I think is the next commission meeting.
Yeah.
The bid would be outdated by then because of their 30-day time frame, since we have several weeks here before the next commission meeting. That's not saying that bid would go up, but we'd have to update it and bring it back, which is completely fine, or if the commission wants us to go a completely different direction. I think Greg and I are under the understanding that if we do something different, it's going to cost more than the bid that we have now, which would then impact, that bid is roughly $72,000 to replace the skylights. It could be, if we
Right.
bring a different company in, they could have to re-roof, redo all the curbing up there, the flashing. It could be back to the amount of what we just replaced those at, which was about $140 some $1,000. So it could be twice that if we do something different, or
Well, and I guess for this time, I'd say it's probably the easiest just to go ahead and replace what we have this time and then look to the future. I mean,
Reconsider in the future, because
I think that, yeah, you're correct. The easy option is to say, let's replace them, let's not have any water intrusion into future problems.
right,
But in the
we've got the
future,
insurance to work with us right now. Let's go ahead and
in the
and do
future, if they ever
that.
get hailed out again or damaged, we need, from the start, look elsewhere as to what else do we want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the insurance is covering it this time. It's 9 months. I know that's a short time, but I guess that's the break sometimes. You just, and it's already constructed. We already went through all the construction to get them to where they need to be. So I think we take care of it now and then keep it on our building and ground agenda as far as, what do we do future-wise. But I think for now, I don't know. I don't know if we need to delay it any farther.
Right.
One of the options that Greg has presented, because there's basically 120 foot of skylights, instead of having so many skylights, is maybe doing like a 15-foot section of solid roofing and then a 15-foot section of skylights. Close it off every other 15 foot, still allow natural lights, but maybe reduce the amount of skylights that are up there by half. Just another option.
Okay. All right.
and as, like I say, it'll involve a lot, but like I say, this will get us a fix, and like I say, the insurance, but I guess I'm not a skylight guy, and as cheap as lights run nowadays, and unless our staff and Greg wants the natural lighting, and like I say, we need to look into that a little bit, and that'll give us a little time to get some pricing for, like say, every other one, or completely close them, but that's another time.
Well, and at this time, the building is 40-plus years old,
Yeah.
I'm assuming. It's only been skylight replaced once or twice in its lifetime, so it's just unfortunate we're doing it 9 months after
Yeah.
we've done it the
We've
first
just done
time.
it,
So
yeah.
it could go another 30 or 40 years, and
Good.
none of us are going to have the conversation.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, with that, I would move to approve PO number 7847 to replace skylights at the administration building, or administrative building.
Seconded.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. That way we can get that done. And
Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully it's several years. Greg still has a couple decades left doing the work, but we'll keep that in mind in the future on what else we can do up there instead of replacing skylights again. I know staff suggest that we keep them because they are in an environment, essentially most of them, that have no windows in the entire facility. So having that natural light, there are studies that actually show having the natural light in windows improves morale and productivity, but at the sense if we start replacing $75,000 skylights every 9-12 months, that's have to look at something different.
one suggestion I may have, I mean, at future time, if we would take and block them out, just to see what doing some blockouts would look at like, maybe we could get an idea of whether or not that's something that we want to go, a direction we'd like to go, or even entertain.
Sure, that could easily be done with a tarp or something, black
Something.
plastic.
Yeah, just something to see if that's a direction that we want to look at for the future. So, see how many complaints we get.
I would say put hail screen over it, but then there's another maintenance issue, and then it won't hail.
Yeah, probably won't rain either.
Yeah, it won't rain either. Yeah.
Okay. Next. Oh, that's for the elevator. Okay. Got that?
That's all I have.
That's all you have, Darren? Okay. Commissioner reports. Mr. Burgess?
I don't have anything. I had a pretty light week. Didn't, I guess, accomplish a whole lot, so.
Okay. Mr. Younger?
I did go to the Heartland Give Fest, so since Oktoberfest was here, they had a Give Fest where you could double your donation. Then I did do a road tour with Mr. Jeter and some of the staff on the tax issues, which we will have an executive session on that. And then I also went to the Shenshin meeting last night, and as I talked with Bobby, there was some questions about voting, and here in a little bit I'll let her present that. Also, you know, there was a lot of stuff going on with the Oktoberfest, but there was a lot of stuff on Facebook about what a exceptionally turnout that they had out there, and all the motels were full, which didn't let some of the people come in because they had nowhere to stay. So, which that's a good thing, and that parking lot was full. I appreciate all those that come here, and there were some locals that took some funding, so that's good. They'll keep it here in the community, but that's all I have.
Okay. Well, the only thing I have is I went out to the in-service day for all the county employees yesterday and told them our appreciation on behalf of the commission. So, listened to them for a little bit, questions or stood for questions. Didn't have many. So, other than that, I don't have much of a report this week.
I guess I forgot that too. I was out there in the morning for a little bit too, and I counted 99 when I was there, but there was people moving in and out, so good turnout and a lot of young faces, which is good. So.
Okay. All right. You said we have an executive
We do
session?
have an executive session.
Do you want to talk about the work session?
Yes. Before we do that, Neil, I'd asked both my fellow commissioners about possible dates. Anything come to mind?
Pretty flexible. Gotta get my calendar working again. November. My general thought was to have the fourth Tuesday of November and just have it as a work session meeting at a normal time. Was
Okay.
I guess my general thought, but I'm pretty open to anything that's,
Okay,
so that would, I think the 26th.
it'd be the 26th. Does Brendan leave around that time?
1 second.
Or the 20.
I have nothing at that time, Mr.
October
Younger.
26th?
November?
November 26th? Oh my, you're really moving, yeah. Nope, I can.
Okay.
Looks like Brendan doesn't have anything on the calendar of being out of the office that week.
Okay.
But
How
I
about
can-
yourself, Darren?
Will be available.
You'll be available? Okay,
I'll pull it up as you're discussing it further, just to make sure.
okay. Well, if that works, that would work for me.
Fine.
Okay.
Time and location. Do it 8 or 8:30 in the morning?
Yeah, we can probably go a little earlier that day. There's no, my middle schooler has school that day. There's no school at Roosevelt that week at all. As they complete their school, and that week they're gonna move
Okay.
stuff around, so I guess 8:30 still for me, because I gotta drop my other one off at
Okay,
middle school still.
so 8:30. Location, did we have a spot that we'd like to have just kind of a roundtable conversation?
If you want to stay in a county facility, we can see if where we had the budget session in the new training room back doors, or we can,
Okay,
it'll be open to the public, so we want to make sure it's a big enough
Right.
space to have seating for those. We can do it over, I can open up another calendar to see, but if you want to, or if you want to go elsewhere, if you would like me to find a facility that's more,
I think
maybe
we
the
could-
library or something more other than normal, I can make those arrangements and we can talk about it at the beginning of November, because we'll still have plenty of announcement.
right, we'll have plenty of time to
Plenty of
announce it.
time, yeah.
Okay. We can look at that, or we can do the conference room back here, the
Mm-hmm.
meeting room that we have. So I'm okay with just using our meeting room
I am too, we've got it, may as well use it.
if it's not booked.
Yeah.
It's open.
Okay. So we'll make it for Tuesday, November 26th at 8:30 in the meeting room at the administrative facility. So it will be open to the public. We're gonna have Darren and Brendan there. And we will bounce some road ideas and upcoming road and bridge topics and issues.
Yes.
And along with that, funding for those issues.
Since it will be a special meeting, maybe at the beginning of November, get a update from the commission of what agenda items you want. So that way we can list those on the special meeting.
Okay,
And then one other topic, I think you and I discussed since the last meeting was possibly having Justin Craig come out in regards, since the contract is coming up, instead of hauling trash, maybe look at that other proposal of us hauling the trash ourselves to save costs. Is that something you want as well, since that's coming up for 25? Or do you want to stick
Would
with just
he
on the
have-
roads?
At least get it on there. And
I guess we could put it, yeah, we could add it on, and at least have a brief discussion on, and if he has questions on how he wants us have him proceed, I guess. That way he's got adequate time to put it together. But we'll try and keep it to just a couple of topics and have more or less a just brief conversation and get some ideas out there.
Okay.
That works.
Can I have, Bobby, can you give the dates again, please, on that before we go into executive?
Sure. Bobby Drowning County Clerk, election official. Just to let everybody know that we're closing in on the general election, which is from today, 3 weeks. Today at 11:59 p.m., the books will close, meaning that you cannot register to vote. After that time, you are still available to come into my office up till 4 o'clock to drop off any registrations, or you can still go online, and as long as you get that application filled out by midnight tonight, they will be able to get registered to vote, because we keep registering people until we get them to where we know that they're past that deadline. Tomorrow, October 16th, will be the first day that the first batch of advanced mail ballots will go out. My last look at that was probably hitting close to 600 that will go out tomorrow. Early voting will start next week, Monday, here at the Admin Center, 8 to 4, Monday through Friday. We are open through the lunch hour as well during that time. The last day that you are available to vote early is Monday, November 4th, and that will end at noon. November 5th, obviously, is the general election, and that'll be at your regular polling place. If you have any questions on where you think you don't know where to vote, just give our office a call at 628-9410. And there will be Saturday voting available on November 2nd here at the Admin Center from 9 to noon. So that'll be my third time offering Saturday voting, and I hope that people take advantage of it and help with those lines on Election Day. So like I said, if you have any questions, just call my office.
If someone is currently registered, they do not have to re-register, because I'm getting that question asked a lot.
Yes, if you're currently registered and you voted in any last election within the last 4 years, you're still on the voter roll. It takes 2 general elections for you to be considered inactive. So as long as you are continuing to vote, you do not need to register to vote. But on that, if you've moved or changed your name, you do need to re-register. If it's something that you can't get to when you go to the polls to vote, you'll just fill out what we call a provisional ballot, and your vote will count as long as you've moved within the county. And just a name change, that'll be something that your vote will still count, and it'll get you re-registered with your correct information at that time.
Okay, thank you. Very good.
Any other questions?
Nope. Vote.
Vote, and
yeah.
tell your poll workers thank you.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay.
Okay, I move to the Board of County Commissioners recess to an executive session for 15 minutes under the following exception to the KOMA pursuant to attorney-client privilege exception, which will be the subject to discuss during the executive session is tax sale. Those attending, and in addition to the county commissioners, is Mr. Bill Jeter and Mr. Darren Myers.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
And
Aye.
aye. And we will resume at 9:45.
I'm not looking. I didn't look.
Don't look.
Okay, open meeting resumes at 9:47. There was no action taken during the executive session. With no other business, commission meeting will adjourn at 9:47.